Hey, everybody, it's me. I am broadcasting from my home today, and I want to give you a couple of things to think about. This is the week that we're going to be together, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all in Collegeville. I'm going to be getting in Friday evening at some point. I don't really know the setup there, so I'll either see you Friday evening or all day Saturday. And my absolute encouragement for you on Saturday is it's a long day with lots of content and lots of on time. So the very best thing I can say is bring dark chocolate. I want to talk a little bit about Malloy and Farwell. The the chapters, which I think are 10 through 13 of Malloy, are really the sort of nuts and bolts chapters of what he's talking about. It's the whole sort of how do you perform the act that is described in the prayer book. What I want to say about it is that he is giving us his position on that, which is great. It's probably what you would see in any Episcopal church you walked into. And I want to say that just imitating what he says to do is probably not good enough. Although nobody would notice. You could do it exactly the way he describes in his book. But I think it's really important to consider what he's saying, the necessary versus the sort of additional stuff, the actions you're taking, what they mean, and why you're doing them. To take all of that and to contextualize it in the actual place where you're going to be doing work or are doing work. And I say that because I have an initial skepticism of sort of imitative liturgical action. It ends up being a sort of, it can end up being sort of a lifeless thing. So one of the things I want to do on Saturday in relation to Malloy is for you to take a section, like a small piece of the liturgy, like the gospel proclamation or setting the table or whatever he's writing about, and think about how you would want to do that in the context of a liturgy. And then to say sort of why you would want to do that theologically and in terms of the formation of the church. The it's When I was reading through Malloy again, I was like, yeah. Speed read through this because it's like a bunch of blah, blah, blah. Here's how you do it. And it's important not to do that, but to actually pay attention to what he's saying. Because he's, in addition to doing the nuts and bolts, he's giving his criteria for what he's doing. And of course, the point that I want to raise is that we each have to have a criteria with which we feel comfortable when it comes to leading in the liturgy. The other reading is given primarily because it is a kind of, well, Farwell is not a proponent of communion of the unbaptized. Um, he taught liturgics at General Seminary. And although I tend to disagree with his position, I thoroughly respect his asking theological questions. And I think his theological questions and answers have integrity. So I want you to take those into consideration as well when you're making up your mind about what, the communion of the unbaptized, which is like the hot button issue in the Episcopal Church, how you want to live with that. He, in the conclusion, makes a statement that I want to push against a little bit. He writes that clear boundaries do make possible good relations. Conversely, it is difficult to enter into a healthy and genuine relationship with other persons or participate in the corporate practice of a group without clarity about their nature and purpose, which I both agree with and disagree with. And I think that the issue of boundaries has to be considered in all aspects of the church's life. And I think, contemporarily now with the current national debate around sexual harassment and abuse, we've got to get clear about what boundaries mean. And I want to hold that in tension with the sort of idea that Jesus is revealed in the gospel as one who doesn't have very clear boundaries. He just kind of comes in and does what he's doing. But notice he's not doing it for no good reason. If you heard the gospel read yesterday, he's doing it as a way of distinguishing our actions in this world in relation to the whole family of sheep and goats that is the church. So anyway, that's it. Meditate on these things, enjoy the readings, and I will look forward to seeing you all, certainly on Saturday, maybe on Friday evening. Please, if you will, if there's something in particular you want me to address when I'm there, ask questions on the discussion group on Moodle. I want to make sure that I'm speaking into a context and not just kind of speaking out of nothing. It'd be much more helpful for me to know what you want to talk about. Anyway, enjoy the week. I will look forward to seeing you this weekend. And until then, God be with you and be at peace.